As a property investor here myself in Dubai, I've purchased off-plan properties and I've also purchased ready properties. And in this video, I'll be going over the pros and the cons of owning both because there are pros and cons. And to be honest with you, over the last few months, I've actually been shifting away from wanting to be in a certain category to going into another one. And at the end of the video, I'll also tell you my personal opinion and my plans moving forward on how I want to invest in Dubai. If you don't know me already, my name is Kevin McKenzie, co-founder here at GenZone, where we've helped hundreds of people buy properties in Dubai. Over 150 people get golden visas here in Dubai as well. Of course, most of them buy real estate. And of course, if you want this service done for yourself, for your family, you want to find the right property and get the golden visa the right way, book a call using the link down below or scan the barcode anywhere on this video. So with a ready property, the pros are pretty obvious. The property is ready right away. You can either cash flow with this property in Dubai. Of course, cash flow is very positive, unlike in Canada, the UK, and other places where your cash flow can actually be negative in some cases. You can move into the property right away, which means you can live in it if you wanted to. If you wanted to get a mortgage financing, you can easily do this with a ready property. You know what the product actually looks like because you can walk into the unit itself, look around, feel the walls, touch everything, and you don't have to take the risk with a developer, for example, that the product actually doesn't come out as it should come out. Now, with that being said, that's why it's important if you are investing into something off-plan, make sure to work with reputable developers, and not only that, but consistently reputable developers. And finally, with a ready property, you can of course qualify for the golden visa right away, but actually now, with off-plan properties, this is the same. Of course, we have a full detailed guide on how to get the golden visa on this channel. The link will be down below, or go to our channel and just search it. But now let's move forward to the cons. As a property investor myself, what do I not like about owning a ready property? Number one, the maintenance. I don't like the fact that some things can break, you'll need to make repairs, you need to change some things. This is just not nice for your peace of mind, especially if you are a high income earner. It's not nice to always have to think about these things. Even though you hire a property management company, even though you're doing this, these things will happen and you will be made aware. And of course, it's sometimes not always small. It's not always a small water leak. It could be a big water leak and now your floorboards are wet underneath. This happened to me personally. And of course, I could go on and on and on with all the different things that can happen to a property, but you get the point. Things can go wrong, especially if you're buying older projects. For example, you're buying something in downtown that's 15 years old. Of course, things are bound to go wrong. Now, the next thing that I don't like about buying ready properties is normally you will not get a distressed deal. And if you are getting a distressed deal, oftentimes it's not a distressed price. So for example, let's say the property value is 1.8 million and you buy it at 1.8 million. This is usually what the seller is happy to sell it at. A lot of sellers here in Dubai are not in a rush to sell. We oftentimes get on the phone with sellers and they won't even budge for 5,000 dirhams, like $1,000. Sometimes they don't even care. They'd rather let the property sit on the market than even budge at all. So that's something with ready properties. You oftentimes will not get a great deal. You'll just get an average deal. This is normal. You're paying the market price. The next thing is, yes, you can get a mortgage, you can get financing, but you still usually have to put down a pretty large down payment in many cases. Yes, of course, you can just put down 20% in some cases, but oftentimes people will put either 50% or 100% of the property's value into the equity upfront because they have to. Not everyone qualifies for a mortgage, and oftentimes they have to invest fully. And I've seen this in many cases, especially for international entrepreneur investors. Now, the next thing that I don't like with a ready property is having to focus on making sure that it is tenanted on a long-term basis or rented, of course, on a holiday home short-term basis. This does take up a lot of mental energy. Yes, we handle this for our clients here at GenZone, but still, it is not very easy for someone to just say, okay, I won't think about the property. You're always going to think about your property. Is it being rented? Who is in my property? How long is it being rented for? How much am I actually getting? What's my ROI, etc.? Of course, you can limit this with a long-term rental, but then at that point, you're getting lower returns as well. So, you need to find the right balance for you. If you're someone who just doesn't want to have this on their mind, it's not worth your energy, then of course, this might not be right for you, especially not holiday home. Maybe long-term rentals would be better for you, but even then, maybe it's not. Because even then, in those cases, tenants will still message you and say, this happened, that happened, that happened. Now, moving forward, with off-plan properties, let's start off with the pros. The first pro is you will normally get a lower entry price. Now, of course, on the market, there are many developers that aren't charging lower than market prices. They're even charging, in some cases, higher than market prices for an off-plan property, which just doesn't make sense. But that just shows you how hot the Dubai market is, right? People are willing to pay a premium to get into the property market compared to not getting in at all. I was speaking to someone the other day and he told me, Kevin, listen, I don't mind getting into this off-plan property just to start getting in the market. I don't care if my returns are lower or even almost null. Why? Because I can't qualify for a mortgage, meaning that this is my only way in. So I'm willing to get a little bit of a less of a return, if that makes sense, right? Not everyone can buy ready. Most people who are buying off plan are doing it for a reason. Either it's to make a lot of money with returns, to flip it, or end use it, and this is their only way to get a quote unquote mortgage, because you don't have to qualify to get a payment plan here in Dubai. You just make the payments and go from there. Of course, if you don't make your payments and the property is removed from you later, oh, then that's another situation. But this is how a lot of people get in early. Now, another pro of getting in the market early is, of course, you get returns, right? You're getting a lower than market price. So for example, let's say you buy your off plan at 1.4 million. Now on the handover, it's worth 2 million. That's really good. Your return on equity was amazing. You would have only probably had to pay 60% of the property's value to make, let's say, 500, 600,000 AED in gains, which is really, really good, right? So the actual investment side is fantastic if done properly. But there are some cases where you can buy something for, let's say, 2 million, and then on the handover, you're selling it for 2.1, 2.2, which gives you lower market returns. Even with good major developers, this can actually happen because they're pricing in their projects. So it's important to find the right mix. Which one is going to give me good appreciation? I had a client yesterday, they bought a beautiful 4-bedroom in Dubai Islands at 8.5 million. Wonderful project. If you look at anywhere on the market for something similar like that, there is nothing even close at 9 million, 10 million, 11 million, 12 million. We're looking at 13, 14, 15, 16 million for the same kind of thing, right? So that's a great investment to get into, but you have to find the right mix, the right exact property for your requirements. So of course, something like this on the handover could do fantastic. You could get a 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5 times return conservatively in the next 2-3 years, which is really good for them. Now, what are the cons with an off-plan property? Because it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Con number one is you do not have access to the property right away, which means you don't have cash flows right away. But again, like I mentioned with the ready property, you have to pay usually the whole thing up front. So what cash flows are you really referring to when you would have had to put all that cash, all that equity up front? So yes, you are getting cash flow, but you're getting cash flow in return for you putting up 100%. While with an off plan, you put 24% to start, and then you just make your monthly payment. Now, the next thing is really big, project risks. What if the project gets delayed? I mean, behind me, I can even see one project that is slightly delayed. These things do happen. Developers do face delays. Why though? Mostly it's because the project just hasn't fully sold out yet. The one I'm referring to right there, that one isn't fully sold out, even to this day. It's mostly sold out, but not fully. And in the last months, they've been selling more and more, of course, and now they've finally reached this point. So of course, construction should not be delayed by that much, but these are risks that can happen when you are buying off plan. So what can you do to avoid this? You can find a developer that will sell out their projects. And of course, not every developer will sell out every project, but eventually they should. And ideally, you get into something that sells out right away. For example, Chelsea Residences, the first tower sold out right away. Tomorrow we have the second tower launch, and we're going to see how quickly this sells out. And you know, it's case by case. Benghazi has a lot of launches that sell out right away. So it's important to get into the right project that does sell, because if it doesn't sell out, then you're in a boat with people sinking, and you don't want to be in that boat. So picking the right developer, and of course, more importantly, then picking the right project is very important. A project that will sell out is usually a project with good value, something that people want to invest in because they know that it's worth the investment. If it's overpriced, why would they invest in it, right? Makes sense. Now, the next thing is, like I mentioned with ready properties, you can just walk into the property, look around, touch the walls, feel everything. But with an off-plan property, you can't do the same. So you need to really trust the developer that you're working with to actually hand over the quality that they are promising. So you need to have a close eye on the developer that you're investing in, and of course, their past handover project. Now, the next thing is with an off-plan property, you cannot qualify for financing right away. Of course, you have a payment plan, which is essentially a different type of mortgage, but you cannot apply for a big mortgage on the entire thing and just pay normal 4% fee, interest fees, right? So you have to pay the payment plan, which is normally 1% of the property's value on a monthly basis. But of course, then at the handover, you can qualify for a mortgage, and then at that point, you're all good and set to go. Finally, one thing to mention is, this is not a con, but with an off-plan property, now you can actually qualify for a golden visa even before the project breaks ground. So literally, even if it's the desert still outside or dirt and there's not even one floor built, you can qualify for the golden visa, which is amazing and has made this extremely attractive for investors to get into. Now, one thing to keep in mind is, if you do it right, your off-plan property's appreciation should actually beat the rental yields that you would get with a ready property. And in addition to that, so to just make this clear, let's say your ready property makes you 100,000 dirhams per year in rental income. If you pick the right off plan, it should actually make you more than 100,000 dirhams per year in appreciation. And the best part is you are getting an amazing return on equity, because instead of putting up so much money for the ready property, you're putting significantly less. And with a ready property, you have to keep in mind that it's not just paying your mortgage. You have to pay your mortgage, you have to pay service charges, you have to pay chiller fees if applicable, and of course you have to pay maintenance costs for your actual repairs inside of your unit itself. So overall, you can definitely get higher returns if you're investing off plan, and that's why a lot of people love to invest off plan and flip the property on the handover or a year after the handover when the entire community is done or when that entire area is done. This is the best time to sell. They buy early and then sell later to other people who are moving in for end use. Now, of course, if you're looking to do this for yourself and you want our experience and you want our help to help you pick the right projects, make sure to book a call using the link down below, or feel free to send us a message using this barcode right here. And we'd be more than happy to actually meet you in person in our office, bring you to the developer's office, and give you our opinion on what you should get into. And we'll see you on that call or in person, or we'll see you on WhatsApp by text message.